Hey guys, welcome back to the Leverage Advantage show. And today we've got a very special guest. Her name is Rhonda Sher, and I'm very humbled, very honored, very grateful to have her because she's one of the people that I've met that really believes in practical learning and practical action, specifically in the field of LinkedIn. And I think there are just so many people, almost all of you who are watching this will already have a LinkedIn profile, but most of you are probably not using it right or not using it as well as you could be. And that's what Rhonda is here to share with you. Hey, Rhonda, thank you so much for being on the show. Welcome on to the Leverage Advantage.
Thanks for having me.
Can you share a little bit about how you came to be a LinkedIn expert?
Well, the interesting thing is that my first career started out as a paralegal, believe it or not. And as a paralegal, you have to do all kinds of legal research, and it's very similar to LinkedIn because you are looking for certain people and patterns and cases. And so for me, LinkedIn was just an extension of what I had done in my earlier life. And why I went to LinkedIn is I originally had written a book called The 2-Minute Networker. And I taught people how to network. My secret was pretty simple. If you want to have a full pipeline, you need to do the two things that your mother taught you not to do. The first one is talk to strangers. Okay. Now, didn't your mom tell you not to talk to strangers?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the second one is to practice the F word, follow up. Because if you meet somebody and you follow up with them, well, what's the worst that could happen? You found a new friend, right? So when I wrote my book on the 2-Minute Networker, which was back in 2005 in the first version, and then the second version was 2008 with my buddy Bob Berg, the Go-Giver. He wrote the foreword on the second one. What happened was I realized that LinkedIn was going to be a presence that wasn't going to go away. It was a business platform where you could go and, most people thought about it as a place for jobs, but in reality, it was a place where you could put everything about yourself, and because Google likes LinkedIn, get found pretty quickly. So how I ended up really becoming an expert on LinkedIn is because, number one, I was already a writer. Number two, I was already a connector, and I was already a networker. It was the perfect platform to take all of my skills and leverage them. And from there, I wrote a book called The ABCs of LinkedIn, Get LinkedIn or Get Left Out. And I started teaching people very simple ways to use LinkedIn to leverage their network, whether they were trying to get, new clients, if they were consultants, or maybe they just wanted to be there for visibility in the way that Coca-Cola, puts their signs all over the place, right? And why do they do that? Because they want brand recognition. They want to be visible. So a lot of times people on LinkedIn are not looking for clients, but what they are making sure of is that if somebody Googles their name and they have a LinkedIn profile, that they're going to show up in a way that the only reason somebody won't do business with you is they don't like you, because everything else is there. So that's sort of the journey for me. I went from a paralegal to doing some entrepreneurial things and teaching and training, always with networking in mind. And then I, naturally just gravitated towards LinkedIn.
Awesome. And I know you've taken a look at my LinkedIn profile. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we want to make sure that this session is going to be as useful to the audience as possible. What are some of the biggest mistakes before we get into like specifics for mine, right? But what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when creating their LinkedIn profile?
Well, one of the first mistakes they make, and actually this is really the simplest, is their photo, their headshot. You need a professional headshot. You can't imagine how many people put pictures up there that are selfies, or they have sunglasses, or they put a character, or they put nothing. And, the first impression you have of somebody is when you look at their photo. So the biggest mistake I see, at least up front, is that the first impression of that photo is not one that's professional. I've actually seen some that were, a woman had called me one time and said, I don't understand. I'm inviting everybody. I'm doing everything. I look at her profile. It's a picture of her and her sister in their college graduation cap and gown holding champagne. Like, would you do business with that person if that was their picture? So that's one of the mistakes. And I'll tell you that the second one, and a lot of people don't realize this, but when you get on somebody's LinkedIn profile and you really find something there, you want to connect with them, you might want to refer them, you might want to do business with them, you might want to know more about them, there's no way to contact them. Now, LinkedIn obviously gives you a place to put your contact information, but you most of the time can only see that if you're connected. So what people don't do is in your summary or in your banner, which is the default blue if you don't do anything with it, you can actually go to a very free service called Canva and create a banner. And so the biggest mistake I see is that people don't take advantage of that and use their branding in their banner and put their contact information. Because if I can't reach you, I'm going to go to the next person, and you just lost a lot of money. And I think the third mistake that people make is that they don't use the media section. So you have a summary, you have experience, and they give you 14 places to put media. And what I have found is that most people don't even put anything. But imagine that you could put an audio or a video testimonial right below that, because we all live and die by third-party validation, right? So if you have a testimonial and it says, I could tell you the kind of results my clients get, but don't take my word for it, just click below. Now, you've taken any doubt that they have about you, and before they even know anything about you, they know what other people think. And it's in the form of a video or audio. So the three biggest mistakes are, number one, they have a bad picture. They don't tell people how to reach them, and a lot of people don't want to put their phone number, and that's fine. Put an email, put a calendar booking system, and then mostly put third-party proof. Oh, and the last thing, and this is something I see all the time, people write it in third person, and that, do you talk about yourself in third person? I don't. And so it used to be the way they said to do it, but in reality, the whole purpose of being there is to relate to people. So you want to write that summary in a way that people can relate to you. Makes sense?
Awesome. So write that summary like you're talking to somebody, like, just, yeah, like
from the position of the person that you would want to be looking at your profile. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for example, let's use a Doug Crow, okay, to help you ghostwrite a book and be a bestseller. And he does it all for you, right? So what if the summary addressed all the pain points, and it said, have you always wanted to write a book and be a bestseller, but you don't know where to start, don't know how to do it? I solved that problem for you. And then he has testimonials of all these people, the 180 or so, right? I mean, he's obviously not going to put 180, but he has testimonials of people that he's done that for. So if you came to his profile and you were considering that might be something you want to do, there would be no doubt that he would be somebody that you would definitely want to consider hiring. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Here's what I'd love for you to do. I'd love for you to critique my profile. Do you have it open? If not,
you want to bring it up on the screen?
I will.
Why don't you bring it up on the screen and I'll look at it and we'll do that. This will be really fun. And I promise, anything I tell you is not personal, okay? You know what? 90%, 95% of the profiles I see are all pretty much the same. And it's not because people aren't smart. It's just because they don't know how to do it. Like, I would not know how to do what you do as a podcaster. I couldn't figure this out because I don't know how. You're an expert. Make sense?
Absolutely. All right.
Let's take a look.
Let me get it up. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
There you go. Let's see if it loads. I promise you I have a photo. It's it's just not loading yet.
Okay. It hasn't loaded yet.
Let me try
But what's okay, so
well, that's one thing. That's funny. My photo isn't loading.
it's not.
Let's try that once more. There you go.
There you are. Okay. Now, man, look at your eyes in that photo, okay? It's like you're looking over going, really? I mean, you're dressed beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you're not looking straight ahead. Your eyes are actually off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely change that for starters. But kudos to you for being in a suit. That's awesome. You have the default background there of the blue. And I would actually put a background that is representative of your brand. And you can easily go to Canva, which is a free website which actually has templates, and create it there. Now, the other thing that I want to share with you, which you're going to find interesting, is you may recall that LinkedIn was purchased by Microsoft back in October of 2016.
Yes.
And the game changed when they did that. So you have Fasil Musa. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
And that's your first and last name. Mm-hmm. Inbound marketing specialist is probably not the name that mom and dad gave you for your last name, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, LinkedIn used to let you do that. And that was great for the search engines. But now you have to take that down, because what's going to happen is LinkedIn is going to tell you that you're violating their terms and conditions. So my recommendation is change that. Take out inbound marketing strategist and just leave it as your first name. Okay. First name, last name. Make sense?
Yep.
So right underneath that, you'll notice it says partner at the Leverage Group. Now, that's because you have the opportunity to put 120 characters to describe what you do. But if you put nothing, it will default to the first position that you have on LinkedIn, okay, which is a partner. So if I were to say to you, okay, who's the ideal client for you, right? And what do you do for them? How would you answer that question?
Well, my ideal client are growth stage companies that are already profitable, that have a product that's profitable, and all they want to do is scale, but they're having trouble finding new customers. So that's the missing part in their growth in their growth journey. That's the accelerant. And so what I do is I help them generate leads so they can focus on what they do best.
So what you would put underneath there is, that you work with companies to help them generate leads, to increase profits. And if you have a particular industry or whatever, but that's one of the ways that you would do that. So you want to take that headline. That makes sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so let's scroll down a little bit and see where it says show more.
Yep.
Okay, so why don't we click that? By the way, you have the 500 plus. That's awesome, okay? Because LinkedIn makes you an all-star. One of their criteria is you need 500 plus. So when I first look at this, it says the biggest mistakes most companies make in generating leads is to target as many people as possible. Lack of targeting due to fear of missing out is stopping you from generating leads easily. Now, what you really want, and that's great. That's not a bad statement. But what I would put there is, do you want to generate do you want to generate targeted leads that will convert to clients? I solve that problem with, and then you're going to put, something about your system, because what happens, as you saw, is when you're looking at a profile, you only see the first two lines until you click see more.
Yes.
So you want to make those first two lines so compelling that somebody is going to click see more. Okay.
Yep.
So then you go on and you're talking a little bit about the biggest mistake, which is fine. And then you talk about the most integral part of any business. Okay. And so here's what it says. It says, here's what I'd love to do for you. book a call with me to have a target market audit, and I'll show you how well you know or don't know your customer at no cost. I love meeting new business owners. Book a call with me. So all of that is really great.
Mm-hmm.
I would break it down into sections, with the offer. The other thing that's kind of interesting about this is we like to do business with people that we know, like, and trust, that we can relate to.
Yep.
So what I would love to know is something about you that would help me relate to you. It could be that, my passion is helping people. My passion is helping children and participating in Make-A-Wish, or my passion is being a mentor. It doesn't really matter. It's what is really true for you that other people can relate to you on more than just business. Yeah. Because when we're going to do business with somebody, you're going to want to put something there that people can relate to. Mm-hmm. I recently just did a profile for somebody, and the guy, this man happens to be a new dad, and he's a snowboarding fanatic. He loves snowboarding. And so in one little section of his profile, I basically talk about, he talks about, on a personal note, I'm a new dad, which is a joy of my life. Why? Because there are so many people out there that can relate to that, right? Being a new dad. And I love snowboarding. I love meeting new people, blah, blah, blah. So I would include a paragraph like that, okay? The other thing that you want to make sure of is that you're using keywords in this profile, because you want to come up pretty high in the search engines when people are searching for somebody that does what you do. And it's great. You have book a call with me, which is great. I might even put something like, I am in Singapore, so make sure they understand that there's a time difference, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's one of the challenges that people have. But it's really not a bad summary. So let's scroll down a little bit, and you've got 5 pieces of media. So can you scroll a little bit? Just go down. Perfect. So the first thing you have is 10 steps and 9 leads and case studies. Can you click on that for a second so we can show everybody? So what you want to do is you want to put this on SlideShare, because it's going to actually get you higher in the search engines. So this is a PowerPoint. Is that right?
This is a PDF, but yeah, we can turn it into a PowerPoint.
So, okay, so keep going. Does it scroll down with your 9 steps?
Yes.
Okay. So is this something that you give away?
Yes.
Okay. So this is very cool. So go back to, I like that. Okay. So go back to your profile for a minute.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you could do is you could actually put in your profile, if you'd like to get the 10 steps to 9 leads and case studies, you could actually send them to someplace where they would opt in to get it. And I would actually, do you have case studies in that, or is that separate?
We have case studies in there.
Okay. So one of the things that you can do, and we'll get to that in a second, is, and that's great that you took advantage of that, is I would actually put the case studies within the profile. Okay.
Okay.
The next one is, it says there are 3 ways to get a client. Which way are you currently using? Is that a video or is that just a picture?
It's a video.
Okay, so let's click on it for a second. Okay. And awesome. Okay. Perfect. That's okay. So that's really cool. What people don't know is that it's a video. So let's go back to the profile for a second.
Yes.
Okay. And what you can put is, instead of, you want to put the title there, but you also want to put video, because it looks like a static picture and people won't know that it's a video. They just might think it's a cool picture of you.
Okay.
Right? Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then I don't know what you have for the rest of it. We can click through them real quick if you want. Next on the top right. Okay. So
more videos.
More videos. Okay. So this is awesome. Again, people don't know their videos. What I would highly recommend that you do is that you put videos of testimonials of people that have worked with you and the kinds of results they got. Because the reason that people do business with other people, you know, when we go to movies, we go to restaurants, we get a recommendation from someone, the first thing that we do is Google them because we want to see what are the reviews, right?
Yep.
So this is an opportunity for all those raving fans that you have to actually put a testimonial. And if you want to just jump over to my profile for 2 seconds, I'll show you exactly what I mean. And I think this will be really helpful for the people that are, you know, seeing this. So here I am. Okay.
Yep.
So it's going to come up in a second. You'll see I have a banner. So scroll down to where it says see more. Okay. Just like we did with you. Right. See more right there. Okay. So there's Doug. Okay. Click on that, the second media with the picture of me on it. Go up to where we had all the, right, okay. So you see the second one with the blue, Doug Crow?
Yeah.
Okay, just click on that for a second. I want to just give you an example of what would make your profile more powerful. Now that is actually done, because we know our friend Doug is in Thailand, right?
Yeah.
So what he did is he just recorded this on an 800 number, it's a system I have. And then it was turned into a PowerPoint. And I don't know if your visitors can hear it, but if you just click on it for about 1 second, okay, what you'll see is
Doug Crow with Real Bestseller. I want to talk to you about LinkedIn.
So he's just talking about his experience with me.
And she is not just a diva.
Right?
Yep.
I can tell you
Okay.
without question.
And it's literally what, 50 seconds? Short and sweet, right?
Yep.
And he's speaking, and then there's actually the words that he's saying coming up on the screen. So we can go back to your profile. But what I would recommend for your profile is that you get some testimonials. Let's go to your profile and put them there. Okay? Why? Because if somebody wants to hire you, they want to know what kind of results that you've gotten for them. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so let's go down to experience. Okay, keep going here. Okay, perfect. So it says partner the leverage group. Okay, and it's, you know, that's fine as a description. Okay, but again, I don't see how to reach you. There's no contact information to book an appointment. There's no testimonials. There's no case studies underneath it. You don't know whether somebody's going to click see more or not. So you want to make sure that you take all the space that they give you to be able to let somebody who's visiting your profile know exactly what you do and what other people think of the work that you do. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes.
And so we scroll down, okay, and same thing, we see Street Smart University. And again, that's pretty consistent with, you know, what you've been doing, marketing and leveraging.
Yes.
Now you have here, and you're still working with that company, correct?
Yes.
So you do have here, check us out at. Now, when they do that, understand they're leaving your profile, okay?
Yes.
So that's fine, but you want to make sure that you put more of those testimonials down there, more of those case studies, because the whole point is that everything about you can be on LinkedIn.
I see.
Isn't your goal to get them to book an appointment?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So that's what you want to do. So let's just scroll down a little bit more. Okay, so again, we've got more of what you do, which is fine. Keep going. Okay. So we see that you've got a really diverse background. Keep going. Okay. So these are all your positions. By the way, you don't have to put all your positions in. Okay. You see it says show more. So you've got a lot of them. If they're relevant to what you're currently doing and they provide, you know, some sort of credibility, then I would include them. If not, you might want to take them out. For example, if you were a financial advisor and you worked with 3 different companies, you might just put financial advisor and then underneath that, you know, put that you worked with these 3 different companies and what you did. So it seems less like a resume and it enhances your credibility. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yep. I get it.
Especially if,
Mhm.
you know, you're generating leads for people in a business that you used to work in, because that says, hey, I understand this business.
Yes.
Okay, so let's keep going all the way down here. Wow, you've done a lot. Okay, very cool. Keep going. I would take some of these out, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So now we'll go to education. Okay, so under education, have you taken all kinds of other courses that have helped you that, you know, aren't formal education, maybe, you know, some types of computer classes or learning about email systems, all these kinds of things? You can put that all there.
Okay.
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 And here's a little trick that I share with people.
Mhm.
A lot of times people will look at the years you went to school, and what happens when they do that is they pretty much know how old you are. And if they know how old you are, they're going to make a decision that you're too old or too young.
Mhm.
So when you go to my profile, one of the things that you'll notice is I don't tell you the years I graduated college. And the reason I don't do that is because how old I am really has no relevance to my level of expertise or experience. And if the person that wants to work with me is young, and maybe they think I'm too old, they're going to dismiss me just based on the fact that they figured out how old I am.
Yeah.
So it has no relevance, so just take it out of the equation. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so then under feature skills and endorsements, you want to take the first three, and for you, it would be startup leadership, entrepreneurship. I would basically say for you, you might want to include lead generation because that's your business.
Yes.
So I would put lead generation as one of the first three, okay? And you want to get to 99 in all of those. Make sense?
Yep.
And you want to have all 50 of them. So you want to choose what you want to be endorsed for.
Mhm.
So if we look at your recommendations, you've received 6 and given 9. That's awesome because what it tells me is that you give more than you receive. Really cool. However, what I noticed first off is look at the dates on your recommendations. They're 5 years old, 2013.
Yep.
So what I look for are recommendations that are more current, okay? Because what happened 5 years ago might not be a reflection of who you are today.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that your recommendations are actually very current. It's good to have a lot of them, and it's, you know, and the way you get them is to give. So let's just scroll down to the bottom. Let's see what else we've got here. Those are all your recommendations. Very cool. Languages, cool. And that's awesome. Most people don't do that. Okay. By the way, you also speak lead generation. I speak LinkedIn. Okay. So this is basically an overview of your profile. Oh, and one other thing, and this is what I would highly recommend. How much of your business do you want to get from LinkedIn? Are you looking to generate business from LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think it's a really good tool specifically for B2B businesses as well. I mean, to find other companies, I think LinkedIn is increasingly becoming more effective than other channels.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I recommend is that you get the paid version of LinkedIn. LinkedIn has pretty much become pay to play. And the reason that you want to have the paid version of LinkedIn is because you don't know who's looking at your profile. And when somebody looks at your profile, if you have the free version, you only know the first 3, okay? But if somebody's looking at your profile, but they didn't send you a connection request, you don't know it, you basically may have lost a potential client. So you can look at who's looking at you with the paid version, whether you use Sales Navigator or you use Premium.
Yeah.
And then you can go and look back at them. And if they haven't sent you a request, but they look like somebody that might be a great referral partner, or they look like somebody that might be a great client for you, you can actually send them an invitation and say, Facile, I noticed that you looked at my profile and that we share some common interests and common connections. Yep. It would be great to connect here on LinkedIn. I look forward to learning how we can network for our mutual benefit. Best regards. Now, if you send that personal message and that person has already looked at you, there's a very, very high chance that they're going to make that connection, which then opens the door for you to start using LinkedIn to take that connection to a deeper level. Does that make sense?
Yep, yep.
So was that helpful?
Oh, that was very helpful. I'm just gonna stop the share. Work on it as well later.
Yeah, so you can see there's a lot of room for improvement.
Mhm.
And it's not that what you've done is bad, okay? It really isn't. It's what it's like is going up to an ATM machine, putting in your card, saying, I want 20 bucks, because you put your LinkedIn profile up there. Your intention is to get new leads, and you walked away without your $20 bill. So you want to make sure that you really optimize that profile and you know who's been looking at you, because I promise you that every day that you go to your profile, you will see who's looked at you. You'll get a lot more invitations. And it's putting it on steroids, very similar to what you do for your clients. You can use LinkedIn to do that for yourself to bring you more clients.
Absolutely. Look, I love what you just shared. I know the audience is going to get so much from it. And it makes so much sense, when I'm teaching my students, when they're doing their presentation, they're talking about their about us. You don't have to put everything there. Just put what's relevant and what's going to get you the result. Why wouldn't you do that for a different platform?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to do it from the standpoint of your ideal client, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And like I'll give you another example. Actually, this is really interesting. So I work with a lot of real estate professionals, and most people do not get their realtor, whether they're buying or selling, from LinkedIn. They just don't. Typically they get it either because they found that person through a referral, a personal referral. Maybe it's somebody who farms their neighborhood and everybody has sold, there's like 1 or 2 agents that have sold every house in that neighborhood. But they typically don't jump on LinkedIn and type in Los Angeles real estate agent specializing in luxury homes. Okay. Yeah. They typically don't do that. However, if you optimize that headline and you have everything that we've just talked about, I have a client who found me on LinkedIn because of my profile. And I optimized her profile, and literally in a month she called me and she was so excited, because I tell real estate agents I'm not a magician. I don't pull clients out of my hat for real estate people. And she said, I had somebody that actually reached out to me. They were moving to Houston and they found me on LinkedIn and they said they wanted to work with me to help them find a home.
Awesome.
Now, that's pretty amazing, right? Yeah. But it's not actually so much the exception. It's just that her profile was so clearly optimized. It had Houston on it. She has testimonials. She talked about all the things she does. So when they read that profile, they could resonate with her. They identified with her, and she had her phone number right there. So they picked up the phone and called and said, listen, I'd like to work with you. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that this works, I could give you 10 more stories just like it.
And plenty more where that came from.
Oh, absolutely.
Rhonda, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your knowledge, your experience, your expertise. I gained so much from it. I know that the audience is going to gain so much from it. If they want to find out more, I know your answer, but where can they find you?
Well, actually, I have a free gift for everybody. I wrote a little report called 7 Steps to a Powerful Profile. And where you can find that is at yourconnectionconsultant.com, or they can connect with me on LinkedIn. And make sure when you connect with me on LinkedIn that you put a personal message and say, I heard you on Facil's podcast, something so I know who they are. Because oftentimes people don't connect with a personal request.
Yes.
And also, once you download that free report, there is an opportunity to book a 30-minute free session with me where I'll do with them what I've just done with you, which is go over their LinkedIn profile and give them some suggestions on how they can take it to the next level.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Rhonda. It was an absolute pleasure. So humbled, so grateful. Thanks for being on the Leverage Advantage.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, check out the relevant video here, and don't forget to subscribe to us for more marketing tips, techniques, strategies that are working for us, or just more behind the scenes fun. See ya!